We begin in Hanoi 4 days before Lunar New Year's Eve, known as Tet in Vietnam. The entire country is preparing by following a long list of traditions. Here are a few that I observed. Decorations with red for luck and gold for wealth are everywhere. This man might be wondering if he can fit one more lucky decoration on his bike. Kumquat trees symbolize prosperity. The more fruit on the kumquat tree inside your home, the more luck you'll have in the new year. In the north, they buy peach flowers because they bloom in the spring, symbolizing vitality and a brave heart. Maybe this guy's bike broke down, but his peach tree will be delivered. Buying new clothing in bright colors like red, yellow, or blue can bring good luck and prosperity to the wearer. Eating sweet foods will bring luck, happiness, and success. There's plenty of success at this market. The first day of Tet is spent with immediate family, so definitely bring toys for the kids. This 11th century temple was dedicated to Tran Vu, one of the principal deities in Taoism. This temple's name means place of the gods. The architecture is a mixture of many different styles of the imperial era. Offerings to ancestors are important. Here we have bottled water and bananas that represent the Buddha's hand facing up to protect and bring blessings. Here are 2 photos of a black bronze statue of Tran Vu. It is 13 feet high and weighs almost 8,000 pounds. Among the offerings are wine and beer to help the ancestors celebrate Tet. I believe this is a pomelo tree, which is a relative of the grapefruit and symbolizes security, good health, and prosperity. This is the oldest pagoda in Hanoi, originally constructed in the 6th century during the reign of Emperor Li Nam De. In 1615, it was relocated to an islet within Westlake and offers beautiful architecture, historic relics, and a scenic, serene environment. Temple of the Jade Mountain is located on Hon Kim Lake. The Red Bridge connects to Thaplut Tower. More beautiful architecture and a shop to purchase any offerings you choose. Hopefully, this quick primer will help you recognize more Tet traditions as we travel through Vietnam. Chúc mừng năm mới! Now back to the busy streets, organized chaos, and seemingly a contest for who can fit the most packages on their bike. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. And there's your chicken right on the side of the street. Produce, a staple of the Vietnamese diet, is everywhere. Every street corner, every block. It's beautiful. Many of the police are there to direct traffic and help pedestrians cross the street safely. Now is time for my cyclo tour, starting with the Opera House. The Women's Museum features women in family, history, and fashion. Here are some of the traditional clothing and wedding garments. Hoa Lo prison was originally used by French colonists to detain political prisoners. Later used for American prisoners of war, it was dubbed the Hanoi Hilton. Most government buildings are painted various shades of yellow because it symbolizes royalty, luck, pride, and prosperity. Yellow also absorbs less heat and is better suited to the humid tropical weather. The Military History Museum is also home to the Hanoi Flag Tower, built during the Nguyen Dynasty in 1812. At over 100 feet tall, the tower was used to monitor the surrounding area. This mausoleum is the final resting place of Ho Chi Minh, the first president of North Vietnam. Train Street is interesting because all the shops face an active railway. Now in the French Quarter, streets are wider, buildings are newer, and things cost more. Many homes in Vietnamese cities are taller than they are wide. Land is expensive, and to cope, most owners use the first floor for business, and the family lives in the back from the second floor up. Generations of family members live together, so it is easier to add on another floor than buying a new house. This results in tightly packed buildings with few windows and natural light. Our hotel had internal skylight structures that allowed for the feeling of windows and natural light. Our hotel manager, Anthony, is directing delivery of their kumquat tree as they add Tet decorations. He greets the guests to a delicious breakfast each morning and is very attentive to everyone's needs. Finally, I highly recommend the Hanoi Private Food Tour. Local college students lead the trips. My guide Lynn was awesome, knowledgeable, and so funny. We ate bun cha, which is grilled pork in stock served with vermicelli noodles and tons of herbs, and nem qua bi, which are fried crab spring rolls. Next we ate bang seo, which are crispy crepes filled with shrimp, pork, and bean sprouts that you wrap in rice paper and top with fresh herbs. Both were amazing. We could have gone more places, but I was full. Now we leave Hanoi and cross the Red River on our 4-hour drive to Hai Long Bay. Our rest stop is the Hong Nook Fine Art Gallery that sells embroidered artwork created by people with disabilities, many due to Agent Orange. I purchased 2 beautiful pieces, and the artists were on site to pose with their art. When we arrived, we took a tender to our junk boat. These vessels, traditionally found in Southeast Asia, appear to slide across the water. The top deck is for lounging, and the cabins are spacious with private bathrooms. Now it is time for lunch in the dining room. The presentation was as beautiful and ornate as everything else in Vietnam. Next, we take a tender to our kayaks, a chance to see some of the 1,600 islands and islets that comprise this UNESCO World Heritage Site. Breathtaking limestone pillars, rock formations, and caves carved by centuries of wind and water. We pair up and board kayaks, knowing exactly where to go. Or not, paddling through a small cave, the view opens up like a scene from Jurassic Park. We stop for a while to view resident monkeys playing. As we paddle closer to the limestone walls, we notice barnacles and hordes of other crustaceans living just above the waterline. Our group paddles around, exploring a bit more. Then it is back through the cave. This time we notice the massive stalactites clinging to the ceiling. T-Top Island is the most beautiful island in Hai Long Bay. This sign is a good warning about the 450 steps it takes to reach the 350-foot viewpoint. I made it, looking as pink as my shirt. It is well worth it because the views of the islands, water, junk boats, and beaches are amazing. Song Sot Cave was allegedly first discovered by the French in 1901, who named it Grotto des Surprises because of its surprising beauty. The first visitors arrived in 1993. From 520 to 470 million BC, Hai Long Bay was subject to intense tectonic plate movements, along with severe rainfall and flooding, which caused the formation of underwater mountains. Millions of years on, the area experienced periods of extreme heat and drought that caused the thick limestone formations. These sea mountains steadily eroded. The advancement of the sea and its effects on the caves can be seen in the ceiling's ripple-like patterns. Now we board the train for our 13-hour ride to Hue. Since there are 16 of us and 4 bunks per cabin, we split up into 4 cabins. Here are more stores that open onto active train tracks. Not sure if it's good or bad for business. Here is a look at the nightlife as we go. Outside the city, most homes seem to be shorter and have space between them. It seems that residential and commercial buildings are intermixed, which could be convenient. Now we pass an ornately embellished cemetery. Here is a view of farmland before entering Hue. Yay, we arrived! Locals load their Tet decorations. At the station, you can literally buy soup to nuts and a conical hat. Here's the flag tower at the Dai Noi Citadel, built in the 19th century. Hue was the seat of the Nguyen dynasty emperors and the national capital from 1802 until 1945. We crossed the moat to enter the citadel, which is surrounded by thick stone walls. This map shows which buildings are still standing in the imperial city. Many of the buildings were destroyed during the Vietnam War. We entered through the Nong Mon Gate that was previously only used by the emperor. It was fun seeing locals posing in traditional dress for the holiday. Here is a scaled model of how the city used to look. Many buildings are still being renovated. Here is a Royal Theatre that still opens for performances twice a day. I love the ornate tile work throughout the city. The beautiful long galleries on either side of the Can Chang Palace have been restored. We exit through the Hainyang Gate with one more look at the beautiful tiled creatures. We cross the moat again. Next, we visited the tomb of Wen Dynasty's 9th Emperor Dong Huang. In 1993, it was recognized as an UNESCO World Cultural Heritage Site. We entered through the feng shui-influenced worship area. 4 successive emperors constructed, restored, and renewed the mausoleum within 35 years from 1888 to 1923. The result is a cross-cultural architecture style with a combination of Western European design and traditional Asian construction. We continued up to the burial site. In the middle of the tomb area is a stele house with a Than stone. Dong Huang's tomb is square, surrounded by 3 walls built of bricks and mortar. The roof is carved with the sun, the 4 corners are carved with dragons and the word Tho. Our group poses with statues of martial artists, elephants, and horses. At 7 stories, Dien Mu is one of the tallest, most elegant pagodas and often a symbol of Vietnam. Beyond the pagoda is a gateway. On the upper floor is an effigy of the pagoda's namesake, the Celestial Lady. The temple itself is a humble building with a large bronze laughing Buddha. Behind him are 3 more statues, Buddha of the past, historical Buddha, and Buddha of the future. Built more than 400 years ago, it has been a site of many political protests. The Than Ton Tile Bridge was built in 1776 and recognized as a National Heritage Monument in 1990 because of its extremely unique architectural style. The roof is completely covered with lapis lazuli tiles. Mrs. Tran Thi Dao was wife of a high-ranking mandarin but had no children. To pray for herself, she used her money to build this bridge. At the center is an altar where visitors worship Mrs. Tran and all who built the bridge. Prior to this bridge, villagers working in the fields used boats to cross the river, which was difficult and time-consuming. Now we check into our hotel, check out our rooms, and then go upstairs for a buffet lunch with great views of Hue. Next, we get paired with a driver for our first motorbike ride. Woohoo!
Hello.
Hello, Chúc Mừng. Chúc mừng năm mới.
Chúc mừng năm mới. Rồi, năm này có đâu? Rồi.
Chúc mừng năm mới. Next, we stop at Bunker Hill. During the wars in Vietnam, the French and American used Vong Canh Hill as a military strategic point and built various bunkers. They are located overlooking a sharp bend in the Perfume River, giving any soldiers stationed here a commanding presence over travel in both directions. Then we ask about the multitude of younger trees that appear to block the strategic view. Our guide shows us that the trees are planted in rows, one for each Vietnamese life lost in the last war. The multitude of young trees takes on a whole new meaning. Next, our drivers take us to visit local artisans.
And in a patient like this, to sit long time on the chair to make an incense stick. One day she can finish around 1,000 incense sticks.
Wow. The traditional Vietnamese conical hat, non la, meaning leaf hat, is a perfect circular cone which tapers smoothly from top to bottom. As you can see, they are labor-intensive. Many have colorful decorations inside to personalize and help identify one's hat. Now I learn how to make incense. 1 down, 999 to go for the day. They make beautiful decorations as well as smelling of cinnamon, sandalwood, pomelo, and more. Our tour guide, Hua, graciously invited us to enjoy a celebratory Tet dinner at her friend's house. The husband is a barber, and they welcomed us into their home to view their altar, learn more about them, and then serve all 16 of us an amazing 5-course meal made in their simple but very capable kitchen. We began with a traditional toast of homemade rice liqueur. On the way to our hotel, we saw Tet festivities and regular nightlife.
That looks like a fun place.
Kelsey, do you see this is a DMZ bar? And there's a night camp just across the street.
It is finally Lunar New Year's Eve. Yay! We check into our hotel that is decorated for Tet with a typical altar, and it has a pool. My room is very nice with a balcony where I can watch the local hustle and bustle. Hoi An is an ancient town that is an exceptionally well-preserved example of Southeast Asian trading port dating from the 15th to 19th century. Its buildings and street plan reflect the fusion of local and foreign cultures, principally the Chinese and Japanese, with later European influences that have combined to produce this unique heritage site. Even the Starbucks blends in with the local architecture. Hoi An is built with flooding in mind. The doors have raised sills to prevent water from entering. Many vintage buildings have an open square in the middle with a rope to hoist furniture and other valuables during major flooding. We ate lunch in a cute restaurant with lovely street views, then visited local tailor shops. In the evening, we braved high tide and went to a restaurant that featured fish cooked in banana leaves. Though not native to Vietnam, their mojitos are spectacular and stuffed with mint and lime. Now is not time to sleep, it's time to celebrate. Next, we take a boat ride on the Hue River to release lanterns carrying our New Year's wishes.
Chúc mừng năm mới.
Chúc mừng năm mới.
Năm mới.
Chúc mừng năm mới.
It seemed that folks from every shop were burning paper effigies. These joss papers are made to symbolize valuables including money, houses, cars, and even cell phones. Burning the papers is believed to send the offerings to deceased family members.
Xin chào. Xin chào.
Vietnam is the second largest producer of rice in the world. Most rice grown here is wet rice, meaning that it is grown in flooded fields rather than dry land. Growing rice is extremely labor-intensive because each young rice plant needs to be transplanted into a prepared paddy. Families help each other with the harvest. Traditionally, farmers used water buffalo to help till the rice paddy for seed planting. Hua discussed invasive species and how difficult it is to make a living growing rice. Most young people are leaving farms for higher-paying jobs in the city, making the future of rice farming uncertain. The Vietnamese don't have grass lawns. Instead, they have rice paddies or produce gardens. We took turns watering crops using traditional methods. Working in the fields is hot and tiring. Therefore, the Vietnamese take long lunches during the hottest hours using traditional huts like this. We are eating special Tet treats and homemade herbal tea. On the way to our next step, we pass homes decorated for Tet. Now we don non-lei hats and board bamboo basket boats to tour a water coconut plantation. Don't we all look so cute?
Go. Yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Go.
Can you hold this for me?
Yes.
Ole, ole, ole.
So what type of plantation is this again?
A coconut, water coconut.
Water. That's right. Water coconut. I will say, the Vietnamese sure know how to have fun. Oh, bloody hell!
We end with a riverboat ride back to town. We had dinner with Hua's friends who just converted the bottom floor of their house into a new restaurant. Another fabulous 5-course meal with Tet specialties like square sticky rice cakes. The Vietnamese believe that the first day of business after New Year's will predict the success of the rest of the year. This new restaurant is off to a prosperous beginning.
For takeoff and landing, please ensure that your seat back is in the upright position. Fasten your seatbelt and open your window shade. For your own safety, we recommend that you keep your seatbelt fastened throughout the flight. Your seatbelt fastens and unfastens like this. Tighten by pulling the strap and unfasten by lifting the buckle. Oxygen masks in cabin and toilets would drop automatically from the ceiling if they are needed. Please remain in your seat. Reach up and firmly pull the mask down to activate the oxygen flow.
Trên đường đi lấy xuân đầu năm, qua một năm rồi dối tơ tầm. Năm mới nhiều ước vọng chờ mong, may nhiều rồi yên ngóng trông, vui cùng pháo đỏ diệu hồng. Ta cùng nhau đón thêm mùa xuân, xuân dù thay đổi biết bao lần. Xin khấn nguyện kén chặt tình thân, viên cành lọc những bâng khuâng, xuân này chắc gặp tình quân. Xuân mang niềm tin tới bao la ngôn yêu.
After checking into our hotel, some of us got banh mi at a tidy, well-organized street vendor. I got lunch from the one that was a bit sketchier, but the food was delicious. Next, we were paired with a cyclo driver and off to explore the city. I was so thankful for the ride since it was sunny and 94 degrees.
viết thư thăm bạn hiền, một lời nguyện riêng chớ quên, mong đầu năm cuối năm gặp may, gia đình luôn hạnh phúc vơi đầy. Trên bước đường danh lợi dòng mây, duyên vừa đẹp ý đắm say, ôm nàng xuân đẹp vào tay. Trên đường đi lễ xuân đầu năm, qua một năm rồi dối tơ tầm, năm mới nhiều ước vọng chờ mong, may nhiều rồi yên ngóng trông, vui cùng pháo đỏ diệu hồng. Ta cùng nhau đón thêm mùa xuân, xuân dù thay đổi biết bao lần. Xin khấn nguyện kén chặt tình thân, viên cành lọc những bâng khuâng, xuân này chắc gặp tình quân.
We stopped at the Independence Palace, which made its name in global history when a North Vietnamese tank crashed through its main gates in 1975, signifying the end of the Vietnam War. We saw the Pittman Apartments, where CIA members live. On April 30th, 1975, the last helicopter flew some of the 1,373 Americans and 5,595 Vietnamese evacuees to the USS Okinawa. Next, we visited the memorial for Vietnamese Mahayana Buddhist monk Thich Quang Duc. In June of 1963, he burned himself to death at a busy intersection in Saigon. He was attempting to show that to fight all forms of oppression on equal terms, Buddhism too, he needed to have martyrs. John F. Kennedy said about the photograph of Duc on fire, "No news picture in history has generated so much emotion around the world as this one." Notre Dame Cathedral of Saigon was constructed between 1863 and 1880 by French colonists but was closed for renovations. Across the street, Saigon's Central Post Office was also built in the 1880s, based on a design of French architect Gustave Eiffel. Final full day in Vietnam, I learned details about the Ho Chi Minh Trail and system of tunnels used by the Viet Cong by visiting the Chu Chi tunnels. It is difficult to explain the full experience and a must-see for tourists.
Very quick, you know.
Yeah.
Wow. He put his rifle down.
So small. Like you won't
Two
fit.
hands both sides.
You will not fit. Your shoulders.
And the cover.
Trust that he
You have the bar.
Yep, and then he goes down.
Okay. Just do the hole.
Wow.
Oh boy.
Wow. That's amazing.
Oh, you want to try that?
No.
Stop! Chi!
Yep, there he goes. Oh, good for you. Ah, there he is.
That's fun though. It's what? I enjoyed that. Is that a typical size tunnel for the moon? Is that just like...
No, that's been enlarged for the
that's like a
tourists.
size.
In the evening, Hua took us to an awesome restaurant where we celebrated my birthday with my final amazing meal in Vietnam.
This is from all of us. Happy birthday, dear Wendell. Happy birthday to you. Thank you. Now, một, hai, ba, vô. Một, hai, ba, vô. Một, hai, ba, vô.
All in love with Vietnam. Chúc mừng năm mới!